welcome to our bonus week in June 2023 with Coffee and Card with Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and this month we're using, it's our last week with Circle Sayings, and I just love this card. This is probably the stamp that really attracted, apart from the fact that amazing punch and loads of flexibility with the sentiments and images. But I love this, the breaking wave and the sunshine behind it, and so I thought I'd give a play with this one. So another seasidey one, and I've gone very seasidey this time. The colours I've used is Pool Party, and so Pool Party is the sea, and the crumb cake is the sand. So, I hope you've enjoyed this set. I really enjoyed making these cards. I had absolutely no problem thinking of what to do with them because they're such gorgeous stamps. So you have two pieces of crumb cake, one as a mount and one as your sort of faux ribbon, which if you wanted to emboss that with something like the Subtles embossing folder, excuse me, that or the one of the textured ones, that would make it look really nice. And I've embossed your piece of Pool Party using the basket weave embossing folder, which is really cute and useful as again another background one. And then yeah, I've used 4 embossing folders on this one. Your card base, some basic white to go inside, and then your little bit to do your stamping on. So we'll start with our stamping, and we're going to stamp again. We're using Memento, so I am going to stamp because we're using blends rather, so I'm using Memento because we're using blends. And I'm going to start, this time I'm going to stamp everything and then punch. Okay, so we're going to start with our C, which is absolutely beautiful. Okay, this one's definitely, if you're not working on a pile of paper like I am, you do need some sort of stamping mat underneath. Either one of the stamping mats that Stampin' Up do, or a magazine would do it. Something just to give it that extra little bit of give, and it just improves the image. Or you could use a stamping platform because they often have the mats, the extra mat in for the photopolymer stamps. Right. Oh no, I still need that. And then I'm going to do the Thinking of You sentiment. Again, I popped it onto my grid paper first and then picked it up using a block. And I'm just going to put that where I want it, and I'm just stamping above Thinking of You. I wouldn't put them both on the same stamp block because you won't be able to get it close enough to the image, so the gap between the Thinking of You and the image would be too big and it may not fit when you come to punch. So do them separately. If you're worried about lining them up, use a stamping platform. So watch your fingers with the ink as well. I've already got a fingerprint on here. So I've been to my friend's class this morning, so Liz, oh, I can't remember her surname. No, it's gone. Crafting Kindness. It's Crafting and Kindness, both with a K. She's on Facebook. She does her classes in Lynn, but we were doing lots with black ink this morning. So, little black fingers today. Right. Barrel. There you go. Liz Barrel. Right. There we are. Okay, so pop that out of the way and let's get my pens. So I am using Pool Party and Daffodil Delight. So basically what I did was I coloured the whole thing in, well, I coloured the foam and the front ways in the pale Pool Party, and then did the rest of it with the darker one. I did leave the sort of foam of the waves white to start with, but it just didn't look right. So I came back with the paler one and just lightly coloured it in, leaving some white space, but not a lot. Okay. And oh yeah, and then coloured the sort of nearer to give some contrast with the waves. There we are. And then I'll come back in with the dark to do over the top, and then you know, I think I'm going to use the brush end actually, because we're doing quite a big area here. So just going to fill in with the brush. Sorry, I'm getting my head in the way. There we are. And then we'll carry on round the circle, just sort of doing the edges by eye. There we go. Okay, so there's our sea, and then I'm going to colour the sun in using the darker Daffodil Delight. That's been hammered in a class. Use the narrow end. Do sometimes cringe when I watch people colouring really hard. So if you don't already know, I do classes in Sale in South Manchester. If you go on my website, which is down below, and click on the class picture, that will take you to the latest timetable. Or if you go on my Stamping Up website and click on events, it's on there as well. Right, and then I took the light one, and I did just literally follow the lines. I just thought it needed something, but I didn't want to colour the whole lot in. So I've just, where there are lines, I have just drawn in with the yellow. Some of them I've just followed the breaking, some of them I've done them in full. And it just gives it that hint of yellow around the outside. Without being too overwhelming. And just use the lines the artist has produced as a guide, really. There we go. How cute is that? Right, so we're just going to glue everything together now. Now on this one I have cut everything to the right size, because you're putting your crumb cake to crumb cake, so it'll be fine. Right, so I'm just going to glue this on, so it doesn't matter if it overhangs a little bit. Let's pop that back upside down so it's ready for me. Okay. I'm just putting that on, and then I'm going to put the strip across. I think because it is such a narrow piece, I have cut this using the trimmer, not the guillotine, so make sure you put the glue on the cut side. There'll be a little ridge on one side, which can't be helped with trimmers. I'm assuming my basket weave is straight, so I'm lining that up about just under 2/3 down. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals onto the back of this. There they are. So, dimensional scissors are here. So I'll have one going across the middle there. That across the top. It says it's going to be really warm in the UK today. So 23 degrees it says. It feels a lot warmer, but there's no breeze to cool us down. There we are. So I'm just going to stick that in place. I do like having a thinking of you card in the bank because you can use it for so many different occasions, and quite often if I'm asked for a sympathy card, I find them really quite hard to make. So I quite like having something just there ready that I can just send that doesn't necessarily say with sympathy, but you can write that on the inside. But also, you know, somebody's poorly and in hospital, all sorts of things. Just feeling a bit down. Just a nice random act of kindness. And send them a card. There we go. And then I'm just going to add that to the front. Just flipping up, so I'll just do that. The reason I opened the card out there is because the front was flipping up, and I thought I don't want it jumping around when I'm trying to stick this down. So when you open it out, then it doesn't flip up. But don't stick it on upside down. There we go. Nice even edge all the way around. And there we go. So that's our final card in this month's Coffee and Card. I really hope you've enjoyed these as much as I have. And take care, and I shall see you next week with July's. Bye.